So what you're saying is that I can't rent with this without taking your insurance?
That is right.
Then you know this is correct, Carlos. I think that you're trying to scam me.
No, sir.
Is the Mexican car rental insurance really a scam? Well, let's have a look. Bienvenidos a Mexico, or welcome to Mexico. We have finally arrived for a 6-week vacation in the Riviera Nayarit. Now, unlike other popular tourist destinations such as Cancun, the Mayan Riviera, or Acapulco, we have elected to stay outside of Puerto Vallarta, about 30 minutes north, in a small town called Bucerias. We have rented a home there for 4 weeks, and we intend on integrating as locals. Now from there, we head to Sayulita, Mexico for our last 2 weeks. Now some of you may have heard of Sayulita because at one point in time, Sayulita was a popular surfing destination. But Sayulita has undergone some transformations of late, and as I understand it, the focus is as much on wellness as it is on surfing. And I'm curious to see how those two will integrate, the surfing community and the wellness community. If you're wondering why, we had decided to exchange the harsh, cold Canadian winter for the predictably warm and sunny weather of Mexico, despite government urgings not to arrange non-essential travel. Here's the reason why.
Because last night it was minus 30 degrees Celsius. So do I need to say any more as to why the reason is that we're going?
After an inauspicious start to our 6-week vacation in Mexico, due to the worst snowstorm Toronto has experienced in almost 30 years, we finally arrived at the Puerto Vallarta airport 24 hours later than expected. There seems to be a lot of confusion around the entry requirements for Mexico, and admittedly, I too was befuddled by the rash of information that I came across. First and foremost, as of January 1st, 2022, Mexico has dropped all COVID-19 entry requirements. This means there is no proof of negative COVID testing required to enter the country whatsoever. It also means the Vuelo Seguro forms that I diligently completed for Heather and I online 12 hours before our flight as required was no longer necessary. This is a good thing, as there were several illegitimate websites set up to help with the process, charging, in some cases, exorbitant fees when in fact the questionnaire was free. There were only 2 forms that were required to enter Mexico. One is known as the FMM, also known as the Multiple Immigration Form. This form can be completed online in advance of travel and requires airline info, passport info, etc. For simplicity purposes, I completed this online in advance of travel. The second form that has to be completed is the Mexican Customs Declaration Card, which I received on the plane. Only 1 form per household need be completed. Questions such as duration of stay, number of pieces of luggage, and number of family members traveling with you are some of the questions that were asked on this form. Once arriving in Puerto Vallarta, and presumably any other Mexican port of entry by air, immigrations will require you to hand over the FMM card, and then you will be required to queue again to present the Customs Declaration Card. During this process, a button is pushed, and if it turns green, then you are free to go. However, if it turns red, then your luggage will be x-rayed, and if required, subsequently searched. When you are finally through customs, you are ushered through a room full of service counters with multiple official-looking people behind these counters. Now I have to say, this is not our first rodeo traveling, and I know the aggressiveness of people at airports, but we were royally duped. I had the information in my hand regarding our car rental insurance, and a very savvy person picked up on that and said we needed to arrange a shuttle to the rental agency with one of these service people behind the counter. While waiting, we were offered tequila and mini margaritas. 10 minutes in, I had an inclination as to what was happening. We were being sold excursions and timeshare tours. Despite more offers for tequila and margaritas, as quickly as possible, we exited out of there. However, I thought some video of these interactions would provide some good content, so I returned to the sales area and began recording. I had just gotten about 7 seconds of footage when I was met by security and told that photography was prohibited in this area.
Amigo, you can't film right here.
Oh no?
No film.
¿Por qué?
I obliged and ceased recording, but was followed to the exit door by security and ordered to delete all video relating to the secure area before being permitted to leave. All I can say is thank goodness for my iCloud uploading for pictures and video. In summary, when traveling through this area, keep your head down, don't speak to anybody, and get out of there as quickly as possible. After finally receiving a shuttle ride to the car rental agency, I was prepared for a confrontation revolving around insurance. I had read many reviews online pertaining to the additional insurance coverage that was deemed a scam and had printed the Amex insurance coverage options that are included when renting a car. The car cost 800 Canadian for 3 weeks. However, the additional insurance coverage required over a 30-day period would cost about the same in US dollars, about $1,000 Canadian. This is 25% more than the entire cost of the car rental. Indeed a sham, and I made no bones about saying that. However, I have since been made aware that this in fact is a Mexican law and not someone trying to get more money out of me. Your personal car rental insurance will not extend to Mexico, and your credit card may provide rental car coverage worldwide, but for collision damage only, not liability. Still, as I did, bring along any documentation you have. Overzealous rental agencies may try to get you to buy the collision coverage if you can't prove you're covered in Mexico. When finally out of the terminal, you will once again be inundated with valets and drivers trying to entice you to ride with them. We were advised that if we crossed the orange pedestrian bridge, the cabs would be cheaper on the other side. But, in retrospect, I wonder if the savings were worth it. Pulling 3 heavy rolling bags up a steep uneven ramp, over the bridge crossing the highway, and down the other side to save $5, in my opinion, wasn't worth it. Apparently, they have delicious street tacos on that side as well, but I think I needed to condition my stomach for a week or two before embarking on any Mexican street meat. Lastly, in Mexico, surprisingly, they are still diligent about mask wearing and hand sanitizing. Despite the lack of protocols to enter the country, the sanitizing and mask wearing still remain in effect. Each retail outlet, restaurant, store, or otherwise has someone to meet you at the front to apply sanitizer and in some cases check temperatures. It seems to me that this is quite the dichotomy. Mexico remained open to tourists the entire duration of COVID. They recently eliminated all protocols to enter the country, but remain staunch on protocols to enter establishments.
Hi, my name is Brad Amlin of Amlin to Travel, and I'm in Bucerias, Mexico, about 30 minutes north of Puerto Vallarta on the Riviera Nayarit. Now, over the next 6 weeks, we'll be traveling through Mexico, and specifically the Riviera Nayarit. We're hoping to bring you tips, tricks, and travel adventures that we experience along the way. Now, if you like what you see, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button below, and you'll be made aware of future videos and when they post. But in the meantime, adios amigos y hasta luego.